Tally-ho, ItsOcean, back again for another video. Wearing an old hoodie that I discovered needs washing. Oops. But I'm back this week with a video on a game that I actually played kind of spontaneously. I wanted an Assassin's Creed game that I hadn't played, and there is actually quite a few of them. And then I remembered, deep in the bowels of my gaming backlog was Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Perfect, I thought, as I started the download. Or so I thought. Turns out, the Templars had infected this game with some problems. God damn you! Problems of which I had to document.
And that is where we start our story.
Get the fuck off the counter!
But anywho, let's get into the video. Assassin's Creed Syndicate follows Jacob and Evie Fry, twin sibling assassins who head to London in order to take down the tyrannical Templar ruler Crawford Starrick. That's it. That's pretty much the whole story. I'm not even kidding. There are also cutscenes that are happening in a present day timeline. And to be honest, these scenes absolutely do not matter a single bit in this game. Now, for those of you who haven't played any Assassin's Creed games before, the idea is that in the current time, there are people with DNA linking to their ancestors who were assassins. A device called the Animus allows these people to tap into their ancestors' memories, and allows them to uncover ancient devices known as the Pieces of Eden. It's all rather confusing, and I still have absolutely no idea what the hell is going on in this timeline, and I have played almost all of these games. Anyways, back to the twin protagonists. Jacob and Evie Fry have their own unique personalities, I guess. Jacob is a hothead itching for a good old scrap, whereas Evie is a little bit more level-headed and is kind of the bookworm of the two. There are also a bunch of characters that you can meet, including fictional versions of famous people such as Charles Dickens, Charles Darwin, and Alexander Graham Bell. I always love how Assassin's Creed games try to take real-life history and make their own spin of it, and they weave it into their own narrative. It's pretty cool. Starrick is your typical tyrant boss guy who does all the boss guy things, though his mustache is fabulous! He has control over the city of London, and Jacob and Evie Fry must try and take back the city in order to stop him and the Templars' nefarious plans. That's literally all there is to say. It's a pretty simple story, but a little bit convoluted if you bring in the current timeline stuff, and that is exactly what you would expect from older Assassin's Creed games. I should also add, for anyone that may have never played any of the past Assassin's Creed games, Assassin's Creed Syndicate is nothing like Origins, Odyssey, or Valhalla. The gameplay is completely different, so let's get into that. What a segue. Hell yeah. Jacob and Evie Fry can both be this. Sorry, I get a little bit too in the moment sometimes. Jacob and Evie are both playable characters, and each favour a particular playstyle. Jacob loves a good old fight, and thus he is the brawler of the duo, but he can also be played stealthily. But Evie's the more logical one and uses stealth to her advantage, though she too can also be played as more of a brawler. It's a weird system, but it opens up a lot of flexibility for playstyles. The two characters' stories are linked, but each have their own playable missions, with some of their own stories and characters. You can customise them both with new outfits, colours, weapons, and accessories. Although one thing that I find really confusing is Evie does get this option to have like this little cape down her side that's something special to her that you can customise, but Jacob doesn't really get that option. And considering he has a bunch of different hats with his outfits, I don't see why they didn't add a hat as Jacob's customisation option. Like, come on, it is right there! You could literally... Some of these items can also be crafted, which adds a little bit extra to the gameplay, but I gotta say, the customization in this game is nowhere near as good as Assassin's Creed Unity, a game that I do plan to cover at some point on the channel. Jacob and Evie get an assortment of gadgets to use, such as smoke bombs, guns, throwing knives, and a grappling hook.
Hold on.
This grappling hook is so goddamn fun and I love it. Although sometimes it does kind of make some of the climbing aspects of Assassin's Creed a little bit too trivial. Because why would you bother climbing something when you can just whoop right up a zipline? You can also level up your characters and unlock a variety of skills for Jacob and Evie to use. These can include things like more health or better stealth. That's rhymed, and whoever did the rhyme did the crime. The twins also get an assortment of weapons and upgrades that you can earn or you can buy with in-game currency. Some of these items can raise the stats of your gear, which are required to complete later content. It's almost like a watered down loot system. And as I mentioned, the game also has a leveling system, but don't you worry about a thing, okay? They didn't go full on RPG with this game. I don't think they ever will do that. The gear in the game is also locked behind these levels, so you'll get a selection of weapons and upgrades that will become available when you level up. Jacob and Evie can brawl and use stealth to complete their goals. Sneaking is exactly what you would expect. You avoid detection and sometimes you kill people. Throwing knives can be especially useful for these kind of scenarios. You can also press a manger. You can also press a button to activate sneak mode. This allows you to stay low and keep quiet. When in combat, you attack and keep your eyes open for button prompts. These can be used to dodge and counter enemy attacks, and to also dodge incoming gunfire, and you can also grab enemies to break their guard. It's a pretty simple combat system. Eagle Vision returns and allows you to see things of interest. You can also upgrade Eagle Vision to make it much more powerful, which I very much recommend. Now, Assassin's Creed has always had a history with free running, and this mechanic returns. You can climb up and down buildings. You can hop from ledge to ledge, and as I previously mentioned, you get a grappling hook which allows you to soar up to the top of buildings in an instant. And as is typical of Ubisoft games, you can climb giant towers that allow you to synchronise and show you all the activities in an area. Completely brand new. Totally not been done before. Now, if you want to get across town in a much quicker fashion, you can take one of London's finest carriages. Oh yeah, we got all them carriages. We got this one, we got that one, we got these. Ooh, all the carriages. So come on down to Sir Ocean's Carriage Emporium. That's 0255 555 79999 75 69 420 nice. Now you can actually commandeer these carriages, which is pretty cool. And while on a carriage, you can actually press a button to quickly climb onto the roof so that you can jump onto other carriages, which can make for some really fun and crazy moments in the gameplay. And you can also bash other carriages too, even if it doesn't make sense when it comes to science. But let's talk about London and its many activities. This city has a lot to do. The Templars have overtaken the city and it's your job to take it back. You can do this by completing activities such as gang hideouts, Templar hunts, freeing poor orphans from slave work, and my favourite activity of all is the prize fighting, which I always completed playing as Evie just to stick it to my enemies that little bit more. You will always have something to do in this game, and what makes it even better is the associates system. Throughout the game's story, you will meet many different characters who are linked to some of these activities. Once you have completed enough of these activities, you will get rewards from these associates.
Except. Pleasure doing business with you.
Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
And these can be things such as weapons, outfits, accessories and much more. Now once you complete all of an area's activities, you fight for the dominance of that region. And as cool as it sounds, I'm not gonna lie, these fights are very straightforward. You fight, you beat them, very quickly, the end. They're nothing really that special and they can be over in a blink of an eye. But it can feel pretty cool after doing all these activities to go head to head with the son of a bitch whose fist is about to go in your face. That's not how that works. But I admit it does feel pretty cool after doing all these activities to go head to head, one-on-one with the son of a bitch whose face is about to get pounded with your fist. But if you want to kick some ass in the streets, you are gonna need the Rooks. Holy crap. That hurt. Jacob and Evie lead a street gang which can help in an assortment of ways. They can fight enemies for you or can back you up. They can be used to distract your targets, and overall they are just incredibly useful. They will also join you in the fight for supremacy against any area's ruler. And throughout the game you can get upgrades for the Rooks, and this can level them up, give them extra abilities, or just make them more useful overall. Now, as is the Ubisoft way, this game has 2.5 billion different You can find helix glitches, treasure chests, vintage beer bottles, illustrations, and the illustrious Rouge's Vault, which you need to find little medallions scattered all over London in order to unlock. And once you open it, you do get a pretty cool reward, of which I won't spoil. But I remember the good old days of the earlier Assassin's Creed games, where you had to do really cool dungeons that involved climbing around and solving puzzles in order to actually obtain these items, not just wandering into a back alley and LOL medallion! Syndicate is exactly what you would expect from an open world Ubisoft game. Lots of activities, lots of collectibles, lots of busy work. It's the usual kind of experience, but let's move on. Now I gotta say, one of the crowning jewels of this game is London. This itty bitty nitty gritty city is actually a joy to explore. From famous landmarks to the simple streets. It is always interesting to look at. And this game also has some incredible lighting to see, which, you know, is great when it's not fucking raining, but this game's gotta be based on England, and real life England goddamn rains all the time! And it is odd to say, and it kind of blew my mind, but I found myself really enjoying just wandering around on the rooftops at night when it was raining. The street lights casting rays upon the puddles under my feet were a sight to behold. I really felt like I was home. Ubisoft sure are good at making really pretty looking games. The soundtrack for Syndicate really fits the game and the time period well. A large selection of strings and drum patterns are used to really make you feel like you are in Victorian era London, with tracks such as London is Waiting, Waltzing on Rooftops, they even incorporate bell tolls from good old Big Ben, and that's a pretty nice touch. The soundtrack does do a good job, but for me it came across as a little bit forgettable. It helps the atmosphere and the setting, but a lot of the tracks sounded remarkably similar. So, the issues. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna have a little bit of fun with this one. But this game is buggy as hell! Now, I know these games have been notorious for being buggy and sometimes completely broken pieces of mess, and luckily I didn't experience anything truly game-breaking, but this game still lacks polish after years of being out. The controls are so frustrating and difficult to work with, which, to be really honest, is a problem that I have with a lot of the Assassin's Creed games. I have to say, in terms of the story, Jacob and Evie Fry are uninteresting stereotypical characters whose stories don't really go anywhere. I mean, yes, they have the whole, oh, we're gonna go and kill the Templars and do some stabby stuff, alright, yeah mate? And sure, they do that. They kill Templars and they run around on rooftops, but that's pretty much all they do in this game. They have no story arc. And I know saying all this might be a little bit spoilery, but I feel like I need to warn people before going in that if you want a good story from this game, you are going to be heavily disappointed, because there pretty much is no story. The current time period stuff is still a thing in this game, and I don't know why. The last time I actually cared about that stuff was in Assassin's Creed 3, because of our good boy Desmond Miles. But now it just feels like every game they are just making it up as they go along. And this time, what is kind of good is you don't really get gameplay in the modern day, but you just get these pointless ass cutscenes of people doing things. And my problem with this is it feels like they've been stagnating on this storyline for so long. This time the characters in this one are doing things again. Woo! None of it feels important, and it just takes you out of the gameplay. Every single time it started to go, oh, we're gonna show you something from outside the Animus, I literally just sat on the sofa and groaned. Why is this still a thing if you're not going to do anything actually worthwhile with it? And also, for some blasted reason, this game has QuickTime events. Why does every game in this era need QuickTime events? In terms of the combat, I just think it looks really unnatural. I mean, look at this. The collectibles are also very boring to, well, collect. Most of them felt unnecessary, and this is a problem that I have with Ubisoft games overall. I don't know why, but they have this mentality of including 5 bajillion different collectibles, and I have no idea why they do it. And what is even worse is, apart from the medallions for Rouge's vault, these collectibles have no purpose to the characters. They have no value. Now, for example, in Assassin's Creed 2, Ezio collected feathers for his deceased brother, because his brother loved feathers. It was like a way of paying homage to his brother. He had a connection to them. But in this game, lol fucking beer bottle. And to end this portion of the video, and I'm so excited to show this because this shit was ridiculous, I'm going to play a quick montage of all the glitches that happened to me in this game.
Peekaboo!
That was just some of the smaller ones. There's still 2 much bigger glitches to show you. Now this one I want to give a little bit of context for. I was in the middle of sneaking around, the controls became unresponsive, and I got seen by an enemy. So I decided to try and retreat, only to find myself having to fight. But admittedly, I got my ass kicked, and just as I was about to take the final blow, I used a health item. But the game didn't seem to know what to do when this happened, and thus I entered this really weird state of slow motion where the game thought I was dead, but I wasn't dead, so it did the whole desynchronizing thing. But I was moving around really slowly. And I couldn't get out of this. I had to quit the game and reload it back up in order to fix the issue. Though I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty funny. And the final glitch, which is the pièce de résistance, just watch this.
A hideout on the rails? What an excellent idea.
Rather well. Now, I would like to follow up a lead on...
Jacob? Is this serious?
What the fuck just happened? I will say this glitch though did make me laugh so goddamn hard that I was laughing my pants off. But that's it. That's the issues that I had with this game. And it was a lot. So overall, I believe Assassin's Creed Syndicate really needed more time to be developed. It's absolutely no wonder why the Assassin's Creed games of old died after this game and was reborn into something new. The controls can be absolutely infuriating because they can be very unresponsive at times. Your character just decides to just climb up everything when you're not trying to do that. The collectibles feel absolutely meaningless to collect and are just a tedious chore. And the Fry Twins are utterly boring characters that have no real character development. The current timeline stuff still feels incredibly pointless, and it was an absolute bore to sit through it in this game. It is such a shame, because this game can be fun, but the huge amount of issues that the game has slams the brakes on any fun that you could have. But the game does include an absolutely breathtaking digital version of London and a fitting soundtrack which stops it from being an overall negative experience. So Assassin's Creed Syndicate has unfortunately earned the title of meh. Thank you for watching this video. I do want to quickly say this is just my opinion, you don't have to agree with it. If you do like the game, that's awesome. Let me know what you like about it in the comments. But if you absolutely hated it, that's fine too, and you can also let me know what you didn't like about it in the comments. I will be covering more Assassin's Creed games in the future, so if you want to be updated on when I post a new video, feel free to subscribe and click the bell which does the ding thing in order to turn notifications on. Also feel free to hit that like button, but only if you liked the video. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Toodaloo!
Get the fuck off the counter.
Okay. Oh, pain.